This time, I tried to tame the most powerful and quickest road-going Ferrari ever.
It's an absolute animal.
Rory and Vicky head to the wilds of northern Scotland to see if modern electric cars can go the distance on epic road trips.
It looks a bit like the DeLorean, but a DeLorean for your mum.
Yes.
And Jimmy looks at an affordable way to convert your car to an EV.
I have my beloved Sunday driver car with all the reliability of EV and all the fun of an MX-5.
This is fifth gear.
What with the difference?
They'll still be screaming
And squealing.
Could you just slow down?
And shouting.
Stupid idea. I can't listen to this nonsense.
But there'll also be this.
The EV revolution is here.
But are electric vehicles right for you?
What are the costs, choices, and challenges?
And how do they stack up against their petrol-powered rivals?
We're here to tell you everything you need to know about the new automotive landscape.
This is the future of driving.
This is fifth gear recharged.
When Ferrari decided to create a plug-in hybrid, they decided to make it their way. The SF90 is Ferrari's most powerful and quickest road car ever. Come on, you beauty. Oh, man, it makes your spine tingle. It's just mind-numbingly quick. Oh, man almighty. An absolute animal. Right then, now that I've got that out of my system, let's start again. This is the Ferrari SF90. It's Maranello's first plug-in hybrid, and in the best traditions of that most famous of Italian brands, it's taken things to extremes. So, for your £374,500, you'll get a gloriously old-school turbocharged 4-litre V8 internal combustion engine putting out a mind-bending 770 horsepower. And as that's obviously not enough, Ferrari have bolted on 3 electric motors, 2 at the front and 1 at the back. That boosts the power to within a sniff of the almost mythical 1,000 horsepower barrier. Oh, just look at it. Oh, man, it's absolutely gorgeous. But it's not just a pretty face. These curves, this scoop, and then you've got vents down here. They all give it, would you believe, a whopping 390 kilograms of downforce. But hold on a minute, come on, look at this. What have they done that for? I mean, it's been designed like that. This Cavallino's gone up over. No, put it down there. Enzo be turning his grave. At this point, I should probably also mention that this Ferrari press car is spec'd to over 520 grand. So at more than £500,000, I'm slightly more nervous than usual at the prospect of hammering it round a completely soaking track. Let's see what this thing can do from a standing start. Right, here we go. 3, 2, 1. Now, I know what you're thinking. It's a bit quiet, and also it's a bit slow. Well, that's because this is the first Ferrari that can actually drive in electric-only mode. Electric-only power is delivered to a maximum of 84 miles an hour. At only 15 miles, the Ferrari's all-electric range is not going to send Elon Musk back to the drawing board, but it is enough to make a trip down to the shops a little more eco-friendly. You know, sat with a steering wheel in my hand with the Ferrari logo, and I can't hear an engine. Very strange.
I think it's time to get some petrol power involved. In hybrid mode, the electric motors are joined by that glorious V8.
The circuit is soaking, so I can't use anything like the full potential. But anyway, let's wait and see. The numbers are insane on this car. I mean, this will do 0 to 60 in 2.4 seconds, and it'll do 0 to 125 miles an hour in 6.9 seconds. What?
Beyond 135 miles an hour, the electric motors powering the front wheels disengage, switching all the power rearwards for that final stratospheric push.
We're now in the sport setting. It still allows a little bit of traction brake up, but there's an awful lot of, call it driver support if you wish, just so I've got half a chance to get it on the ground. Well, I'll tell you what, let's turn it up and you can just see. So now we're going to go and race and you'll see the difference. I don't like that. Not in the wet. No!
Ferrari's most powerful road car needed a powerful set of anchors. The SF90 carbon brakes are now operated by a drive-by-wire system. So rather than your foot forcing hydraulic fluid down a series of pipes, this system uses electronic signals which travel much faster and therefore reduce braking distances.
You know, I've got real good control. When I'm in the brake pedal, I can just, tickle and adjust the amount of pressure, and I can feel that in the car.
And what about the handling?
Do you know, the steering is quite extraordinary. It's absolutely razor sharp. Tiny little movements. You know, the car reacts to it. I mean, it's a work of art. That's sensational. It really is. Oh, I just wish it was dry.
The SF90 is just the first step on Ferrari's electric road trip, and rumour has it, an all-electric model will break cover in a few years' time. In the meantime, I want another go in this car, and I've come up with a plan.
Do us a favour. Will you write in, speak to the producers, call them, email them, as many times as you like, more the better, and say, look, can JP do that test again in Italy? I mean, I'm thinking, sunshine, dry track. I don't know, we could do it at Fiorano even. Vallelunga. Mugello, Ferrari own that place. Monza. I mean, there's loads of places we can do it.
Coming up, Rory and Vicky take the high road as they set off on a 500-mile road trip in Hyundai's futuristic Ioniq 5.
As long as you're not Leadfoot Larry, I think we'll make it.
And what better way to test the handling of Mazda's new MX-30 than race it against the legendary MX-5?
Oh, the handbrake!
This is northern Scotland, which features some of the greatest, most remote driving roads in the world. In other words, it's the perfect place for a fifth gear challenge.
Because we want to see if the real-life range of a modern EV can handle a good old-fashioned road trip. And not just any old road trip.
Yes, we are tackling the North Coast 500, and as the name suggests, it's 500 miles long.
And on the north coast
Yes.
of Scotland.
The route is a big loop which starts and finishes in Inverness. We'll be going anti-clockwise, heading up the east side first.
The scenery is truly staggering, and every year tens of thousands take a week or two to gently tour around it.
But to truly test the mile-munching power of our EV, we're planning to only stop to recharge, eat or sleep.
My weapon of choice is the futuristic Hyundai Ioniq 5.
On paper, Hyundai's new EV should be the perfect car for our journey. Its 73 kilowatt-hour battery gives it a range of nearly 300 miles.
And its roomy interior means Vicky and I shouldn't suffer from cabin fever on our marathon drive.
Now, we would love to stop and chat, but it is 1 o'clock and we've got a long way to go before our first stopover. Keys?
No, I'm driving.
What?
Got it. Let's go.
The EV infrastructure has grown to the extent that even this remote chunk of northern Scotland boasts 19 chargers. If they're all working and not occupied, then we shouldn't have anything to worry about.
Okay, so we are now leaving Inverness. We have 97% battery capacity.
That means we should be good for over 250 miles of range. And as our first charging point is only 100 miles up the road, for now we can relax and enjoy the car.
What do you think of the way this thing looks, Vicky?
I absolutely love it. I think it is so eye-catching. It's so different.
Yeah, there's nothing else on the road like it. It looks a bit like the DeLorean, but a DeLorean for your mum. Like a grown-up version of that Back to the Future car.
Yes. Time travel in this particular Ioniq would cost you, or my mum, £42,000. That buys a rear-wheel drive single motor version that can hit 62 miles an hour in a respectable 7.4 seconds. Wowza! We are climbing up. Now this might test our battery a bit. An incline. An EV's mileage is measured in miles per kilowatt hour. We were currently managing 3 miles per kilowatt hour, and the Ioniq has a 73 kilowatt hour battery. So, under these hilly conditions, a full charge would get us 219 miles, about 80 less than the official figure.
However, with 154 miles still left in our particular tank, life in the cabin was still serene.
These seats are really good.
Yeah.
I've got a nice bit of padding here because my arm's been resting
You can put your
there.
phone in that gap as well.
Oh my giddy aunt,
Very
you're kidding
useful.
me.
There you go.
Rory.
Look at that.
Why don't other cars do that? We'd been heading north now for just over 2 hours. It would soon be time to turn left. So we're coming up to John O'Groats soon, which is the most northerly part of the North Coast route.
I've never been.
We have to have a picture by the John O'Groats sign. Please, please, can we stop?
100%.
Yes!
And the reason I'm agreeing to the sightseeing break is this: a quick top-up at the UK's most northerly charging station. And look, the bay's empty. Range anxiety? What range anxiety?
Charging.
Yes, well, our battery to start with was at 97%, and now we're down to 41%. The maximum charge rate for this car is 220 kilowatts, so if you can find a charger that will do that or more, happy days, because it will go from 10% to 80% of battery charged in 18 minutes.
Yes.
This one here will do 120 kilowatts, which is pretty good.
That's a decent speed,
It
actually.
is,
No, it's
yeah.
good. Yeah.
It's enough for a photo and a cup of tea.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Should we plug it in?
Yeah. You do that, and I'll look after the financial side of things. Barely 15 minutes later, and the Ioniq was almost back to full strength. How much does that cost us? Let's have a look. Almost £12.
£12? Pretty reasonable.
In fact, that had bought us another 53% of range, or around 120 miles at our current rate. The equivalent petrol would have cost us around £20.
Could you unplug, please?
Yes.
It's manual labour. It's not what I do. Thanks.
Are you going to actually do some driving on this road trip?
I will now. Who's got the key?
I'll give it to you.
Join us later as we continue our journey. We've still got almost 400 miles to go and a little more than a day to do it in.
And apparently the charging points get thinner on the ground the nearer we get to the finish line. I'm sure it'll be fine, though.
Before Rory set off on his Highland fling, he joined the team for a quick first look and drive of a brand new EV. Yes, it's the 5th Gear Recharge team test.
This week, the team tested the Mazda MX-30. never one to go with the flow, Mazda have entered the EV arena with a radically styled SUV coupe that takes design cues from the company's rich sporting heritage. With a starting price of 28.5 grand, the Mazda's main competitor is the MG ZS EV. However, the model we're testing is the MX-30 GT Sport Tech that sells for closer to £33,000.
Right then, guys, Mazda's first full production EV.
So I like that colour. I like the two-tone, three-tone even. I think the front is really great-looking car, particularly looking at front three-quarters.
I think it's really nice looking, first of all. I mean, aesthetically, I think it looks great.
I've got to be honest, having had a look around this, I disagree. I don't think Mazda have committed to going electric. There's some big issues with this.
Like
have
what?
you seen underneath the bonnet?
Now, go on, then.
Just take a look underneath here.
Oh, yeah, OK.
When you lift the bonnet on the Mazda, there is a massive amount of space. I mean, enough space for Rory to step inside.
There's so many things you could have done here. Storage space.
Look at it!
Watch. It's not a problem anymore. You don't go in there.
No, but it is a problem because all that unused space will affect the space in the cabin.
I don't think that matters. I really liked the look of it and the styling.
All right, get in the back then.
And it wasn't until a few things were pointed out to me did I then very quickly change my tune. It's claustrophobic, particularly the rear door layout. Don't like that.
Try and get out.
Can you get out, JP?
Of course I can. There's a handle here.
The only way to open the back doors is to open the front doors first.
It's terrible. A nice visual idea, absolutely ruined with execution.
Moving to the interior, where Mazda have added a nod to their origins as a manufacturer of cork.
This does look a bit weird, doesn't it?
What is that? Mazda, what were you thinking with that cork? It's a mess. It's going to get dirty. It's a big thumbs down from me.
Let's see how the MX-30 handles on the test track.
Are you comfy enough?
It's a little bit awkward, and this dark headlining is just coming down on our heads.
But the interior wasn't all doom and gloom.
There's some really clever bits on the inside. I love the fact it had a 3-pin plug, so you can plug in a laptop or mobile phone charger, a hairdryer, maybe.
I like that.
That is a good idea.
I've not seen that in any car.
The MX-30 really doesn't have very good range. It was only doing about 110-mile range.
Can I play devil's advocate on the range point, though? Because, on average, the commute normally for most people is around 20 miles return. So it's enough. And that was Mazda's logic behind giving it such a small battery. It can suit most people's needs most of the time.
Mazda have always excelled at producing driver-focused cars. Has their first EV upheld that long tradition?
Right then, chaps. Mazda claim it's got all the inherent characteristics of an MX-5.
Mazda were drawing comparisons between the car we tested and the MX-5.
That sounds like a bit of a stretch.
So we thought, what better way to put that to the test and do a slalom?
You two, get out. Let's have a look.
Well, we can't.
Can you let us out, please?
Let us out, Dad.
Slalom, MX-30 v MX-5. Oh, come on. It's hardly a battle of the titans, but what a great little match to see what that car's performance is like.
Right, on my cue, yeah? I'm gonna drop my hand, then you go, right?
Yeah.
I'll count you in.
Yeah.
Ready? 3, 2, 1,
Right, come on,
start.
all out. Are you going to get on the one? Get on the one to stick on the end. Come on, have it. Around we go. Go on. Yeah. They've not got a chance. That was sweet, wasn't it? That was lovely. Not a chance. Not a chance. And stop.
That's a belter.
That was very good.
It was clean.
It was annoyingly good.
Jason threaded the agile MX-5 through the slalom course in a time of just 20.4 seconds.
Ozzy, you got the
Have you two
handbrake.
got a handbrake, have
You're allowed
you?
to use a handbrake.
Following an official steward's inquiry,
You can't use a handbrake.
it was agreed that Jason's handbrake turn gave them an unfair advantage. So 3 seconds would be added to the MX-5's time, meaning I had to get the MX-30 around the course in 23.4 seconds.
3, 2, 1, hit it.
It just doesn't go off the line.
You've got no chance.
Oh, it's a long way round that, isn't it? Well, he's done 14 already.
At least there.
How come we ain't come over here?
are right, I will hand it to you. This car handles really, really well.
Tell you what, closer than you think.
Go on, what is it?
24.72.
So close.
I know.
We lost about 4 seconds at the top there.
I tell you what, though, considering it's heavy,
Yeah.
it's impressive.
Yeah.
But now it's time for the ultimate challenge, the team test scores.
It's a tough car to rate this because, you know, I like the way it drives and I like the way it looks, actually. But I just can't give it a good score because the rear doors, I think, ruin everything about it. So I'd like to say it deserves a 5 or a 6, but it's a 3.
The range isn't great. The interior isn't amazing. The doors are flawed. So on that basis, I'm going to give it a slightly disappointing 4.
On the whole, the back doors just drove me up the wall. So I think I'm going to give it a 3.
It does handle really, really well, but it's wasted way too much space, and those doors are an absolute travesty. I give it 3 out of 10.
That gives the Mazda MX-30 a very disappointing team test score of just 13 out of 40.
Coming up, think that electric cars are too expensive? Well, Grace Webb might have a solution as she's taking a look at second-hand EVs. And with 2/3 of the North Coast 500 still to travel, Rory's concerned about his co-driver's heavy right foot.
I was averaging about 3.4 miles per kilowatt hour, and within 16 minutes of driving, you're averaging 2.1.
Welcome back to our mega driving challenge, where we are taking on the stunning North Coast 500 route around the top of Scotland.
Does look amazing.
Look at that, see, wowzer.
We've challenged ourselves to complete the 500-mile route in this all-electric Hyundai Ioniq 5, and we'll only be stopping to recharge, eat, and sleep.
You know when you spend a lot of time in the car, you start to get annoyed by certain things?
Niggle and move and...
Nothing.
No.
So far, we've completed nearly a quarter of the journey, and the car has comfortably eaten up the miles. And the news gets even better because now it's my turn to drive.
So, what do you think?
I think it's lovely. I think the ride is really good. But also, it's quite engaging because there's lots of nice things going on, and you do feel a bit special in it.
I'd like to point out, though, the fact that I was averaging about 3.4 miles per kilowatt hour, and within 16 minutes of driving, you're averaging 2.1.
At that rate, our car will only last 150 miles on a full charge. That's roughly half the range it should be achieving, and plug-in points aren't exactly common in these parts.
Vicky, I've actually got some tourist info for you. That's Dunnet Beach, apparently one of the best beaches that you can find in Scotland.
Oh, lovely.
And guess what else?
What's that?
We're not going to stop at it.
No, because we've done it. Ba-boom!
Dunnet Beach. See what you did there.
With the gloom descending, we pushed on another few miles to the town of Thurso.
We have made it to our overnight stop in one piece.
Yeah, it's been fun.
Has been. Had a giggle and thoroughly enjoyed the car.
The next day dawned bright and clear, which was more than could be said for Mr. Reed.
Morning, Rory.
Morning.
Sleep well?
Not really, no.
Really?
Did you?
Yes, I did. I'm so ready for my journey ahead.
The Scottish scenery is breathtaking, but it's also freezing. So I'm delighted with the Hyundai's heated seats and steering wheel.
I might even put my nose on the steering wheel just to get my nose warm. How much energy am I zapping using a heated seat and a heated wheel?
Actually, this car's got a pretty clever feature where it shows you the difference in range between having heating on or off.
Ooh.
So with the heating on, it reckons we can get 224 miles.
Okay.
Or with the heating off, we can do 231 miles.
And while we're on the subject of squandering precious range,
You're still only averaging 2 miles per kilowatt hour, though. Which is nowhere near what I can manage. What is it about you? What, lead foot Vicky strikes again?
Yeah.
The simple fact is enthusiastic drivers won't get anywhere near to the manufacturer's claims with this EV or any other.
But who's going to have the most fun? I come back to that, my friend. Your honour.
You won't be having fun when you're stranded at the roadside.
Oh, this is very pretty.
Wow.
So let's do a check. We have got 162 miles left on the battery. We've got a 67% charge, and I'm doing 2.1 miles per kilowatt hour.
With 300 miles of our trip still remaining, Vicky's driving style would force us to stop at least twice more. Chargers are few and far between up here, and it's estimated that a quarter of all UK chargers are out of service at any given time. We could find ourselves stranded. Vicky needed a crash course in the art of energy-efficient driving, otherwise known as hypermiling.
Right, so straight away, what I've done, Vicky, is I've pulled away gently. There's no need to accelerate full bore.
Yeah.
Pull away nice and slowly. Once you've got your momentum,
Yeah.
just relax. Look at that.
I'm going to have to take a picture of that. That is specky-tack-tack.
And my driving style was also spicky-tack-tack.
2.6 miles per kilowatt hour now.
Oh, for goodness sakes.
Because I'd gradually managed to get our per kilowatt hour back to 3+. However, that presented us with a bit of a quandary.
Vicky, this is Durness. This is where the charging station is.
Yep.
We've still got 137 miles, though, so do we stop here, or do we risk it and push on?
We've got 100 miles to go to Ullapool. I say crack on.
If everything went to plan, we'd arrive in Ullapool with over 30 miles left in the batteries. However, for all we knew, there were a couple of mountains ahead that could drain our power.
Agreed, Rory, but our mission is to find out if our EV has the legs for a trip like this, so it needs a proper test.
This is on you, all right?
Interesting fact about Durness, John Lennon used to come here as a child on holiday.
Really?
Yeah. In 1969, he came back here with Yoko Ono and crashed an Austin Maxi.
Wow.
Must have been a hard day's night, eh?
Imagine. Imagine.
Ka-ching, ching, ching, I'm here all week.
Well, Rory's hypermiling paid off, and we made it to Ullapool with charge to spare.
Woohoo! Yeah! We did it. We've got 42 miles in the pocket, 20% range.
Yes.
Oh,
What a lovely place as well.
this is so sweet.
All we needed now was a fully functioning and vacant charging station, preferably with some food nearby.
Fish and chip shop. And a charger.
It was written. It was written.
Fish and chips on me, eh?
Join us later for the final leg of our spectacular EV road trip. We are over halfway, but from here on, the charging stations are rarer than hen's teeth.
And we're on the edge with our range.
Yeah?
We're 5 miles short.
But that's not the worst news, because Vicky's back at the wheel.
Here, you can lift off. And use your momentum to carry you up.
We love a good second-hand deal on fifth gear, and recently an affordable, booming second-hand EV market has emerged, and our Grace Webb has been taking a look at what's on offer.
EVs have now been around for a few years, so there's some cheaper second-hand ones that can be snapped up. I've come to an EV specialist in Cheltenham. As well as servicing and repairing EVs, they've also got a healthy selection of used stock. What about a BMW i3? This fairly recent example would set you back £18,000, but earlier 2014 versions can now be acquired for closer to 10. And if that's still too expensive, how about this 8-year-old Nissan Leaf with 70,000 miles on the clock? Yours for just £7.5 grand. All very tempting, but before you hand over the credit card, what do you need to look out for? The good news is, not a lot.
Unlike combustion engine cars, EVs have very few moving parts. So there's no cylinders, no complex gearboxes, prop shafts, clutches, cam belts or exhausts.
But simplicity isn't the same as reliability. If you buy a second-hand EV, could some big bills be heading your way? Let's start with the electric motors.
Yes, the motors are fantastically reliable.
Are they likely to last the lifetime of the car?
As long as they're looked after. We've seen Teslas that have been taken on as taxis to over 200,000.
Well, that's encouraging. Now, let's talk about the battery pack, the lifeblood of an EV car. Most of them use bigger versions of the lithium-ion ones that power our mobile phones.
And we all know what happens to these after a few years. They slowly but steadily die, losing the capacity to hold their charge.
Not surprisingly, the batteries in EVs will do the same. However, it's not all doom and gloom.
Battery degradation is quite slow, dropping on average around 10% over 6 years.
And there's even better news, because many manufacturers warrant the batteries for a minimum of 80% capacity for 8 years or 100,000 miles. And why does battery condition matter so much? Because they are easily the most expensive component in an EV.
They cost thousands and thousands of pounds to replace, sometimes well into 5 figures.
Just like the overall cost of an EV, battery prices will come down in time. In fact, since 2010, lithium-ion ones have dropped in price by about 80%. So in the longer term, this should be less of a bother when buying a second-hand model. Right, time for a drive. I'll take the Nissan.
Yeah, I'm impressed with this little Leaf. Even though it's 8 years old, it's still got that electric urge and a nice progressive acceleration. It's actually really relaxing.
So we've talked about the actual metal, but is there anything else to consider when buying a second-hand EV? Well, the specialist components that they use means that insurance is higher.
Work on paying around 20% more than the equivalent petrol or diesel car. Plus, you've got to somehow charge it up. So, assuming you've got a driveway, a proper EV wall box is the answer. Allow £400 to £800 for one of those.
However, buy wisely and it'll start paying you back big time. Your fuel costs will more than halve and your service costs could also plummet by the same amount.
Coming up, Jimmy's seeing if a new conversion kit can turn your petrol car into an emissions-free EV.
What? Oh, you cheeky blighter. This stands out.
And with the end in sight on their epic Highland road trip, Rory wants to push the Hyundai and Vicky's range anxiety to the limit.
I was thinking we shouldn't stop to charge again. We should just go all the way. What do you reckon?
Converting classic cars to electric power is getting more popular. We've featured several examples on Fifth Gear. The job always falls to Vicky for some reason.
Woohoo!
And they've been great, smooth, refined and powerful. But there's always been a problem.
£80,000, £90,000, £250,000.
Yep, ground-up conversions can be eye-wateringly expensive, but there may be an alternative on the horizon. I've come to a company in Bristol who might help make the EV revolution more affordable because they're developing simple bolt-on conversion kits to sell to car mod businesses. I'm meeting Chris Hazel, who founded the company and has fitted one of his kits to a modern classic to show me.
So, Chris, this is your prototype vehicle, and this is an MX-5 Mark II, but this one has been converted to your system of EV.
Yes.
What? Oh, you cheeky blighter. This stands out. So I'm guessing the changes start underneath the bonnet. Can we take a look?
Yes, let's take a quick look.
That's your battery pack.
Yes.
And in my mind, I'm thinking, right, that looks like a heavy bit of kit. You've definitely had to upgrade the suspension on this to make it ride like an MX-5.
Done nothing.
But look at it. It's a big, heavy, metal-looking box. So you're saying that makes no difference?
Makes no difference.
And the reason it makes no difference is that Chris designs his kit to roughly weigh the same as the mechanical elements it replaces. And so one of your ethoses is with this is not to make an insane, super fast EV like we used to. You're still driving an MX-5, and you want this to be very comparable.
Exactly. You want it to be drivable and the same weight distribution and balance as original. As soon as you're going to stick crazy amounts of power for it, you've got to uprate all sorts of other things, and it just gets really, really expensive quick as well.
This conversion has added less than 10% to the Mazda's original weight, so no further expensive mods needed. So where are you putting chargers, all that battery balancers?
Roughly there, so
just behind the seats.
Fuel tank area.
If I was to buy these elements, what are we talking about on cost for this sort of componentry?
For all the parts, you're going to be about 16 grand.
£16,000 for just the parts is, of course, still a lot of money, but feels a bit more in range for someone like me. So what exactly is included in one of Chris's bespoke conversion kits? The first one I want to start with is the one that gives you your power and drive, the electric motor. This is a battery module. These all go together to form a battery pack, which is configured to fit your car. And you need 2 of these to give yourself reasonable range. And also a battery charger. After that, to connect all of this electrical stuff together, a whole host of other wiring. The last thing is a new set of gauges. Around the workshop, there are various electric motors which will be used in future kits. But where do they come from, and how is the price kept so low?
So these come from breakers yards all over the world. We spin them up, make sure they work, all stripped apart with new bearings, new gears, a new controller, and then we'll dyno test it to make sure it's running perfectly.
As it should be.
Yeah, before it goes back out the door to someone else.
One of the things I was worried about is to fit all this stuff in, you've got to take a beautiful old classic and hack it about. But that's not the case, is it?
Never hack it about. Keep it original, everything bolt in, don't change anything. It means it's fully reversible, keeps the value of the car. This is the start of this market, so things are going to evolve over the next 5-10 years. So you want to make sure that the car is kept original so you can potentially upgrade it.
So now I've got an understanding of how it all works, it's time for the important bit. Giving Chris's electric Mazda a good thrashing to find out if it does retain that fun MX-5 feel. From a handling perspective, it's spot on. And the weight distribution is just how it should be. I have my beloved Sunday driver car with all the reliability of EV, all the efficiency of EV, and all the fun of an MX-5. If you're experienced with high-voltage engineering, you could fit this yourself to keep the price low. Otherwise, for a professional install, it's 10K, bringing the total of the EV conversion to 26 grand. That is a big chunk of change, but think of the benefits. As every year ticks by, converting your classic car to EV is going to keep you driving longer, it's going to keep you having fun, it's going to keep that smile on your face. Right now, this might be just a step too far when it comes to the cost, but soon, this is going to make more and more sense.
Welcome back to the final leg of our whistle-stop tour of the North Coast 500. The epic driving adventure we're doing to see if an EV can handle a mammoth road trip with the same ease as its petrol-powered counterpart. We managed a quick pit stop in Ullapool.
Have to say, fab fish and chips.
But the toughest section lies ahead. 200 miles of hilly road sections which will really test the batteries, as will the speed queen at the wheel.
I'm not getting range anxiety, I'm getting Vicky anxiety because I know that I've got pressure on me and I know how I drive.
You know what you like.
I know.
But maybe the car can help out, because the Ioniq 5 has a very clever trick when it comes to sniffing out nearby charging stations.
It shows you where the nearest ones are and whether they're AC or DC. DC is obviously the one that you want. It tells you, yeah, available, in use, out of order, or unknown, which is quite useful, actually.
That is really useful.
It was useful, but this trip was never about hanging around charging batteries. It was about seeing how far we could travel without charging.
I was thinking that we shouldn't stop to charge again. We should just go all the way. What do you reckon?
While my range anxiety was screaming that we should top up the batteries, Rory reckoned we had enough juice on board to make it to Inverness. Time to get the calculator out.
How long is the NC500?
So it is 516.
How many miles have we done since the beginning?
We have done 338.
Plus, what's the range?
The range left is 173.
173. 511 miles. Yeah?
We're 5 miles short.
No, we're 5 miles to the good.
No, I need 516.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, no, you're right.
Yeah.
We'll just drive. No, lift. Yeah, get some mileage back.
While Rory's man maths hadn't filled me with confidence, the man himself was oozing with the stuff.
If you just exercise some of the techniques that I've taught you, lift a little bit on this downhill, yeah, I think we can do it. But at the moment, you're doing 2.8 miles per kilowatt hour. If you can get that up to 3 point something and drive more efficiently, I think you can get it back.
You want me to drive more efficiently?
That's your challenge today.
Oh.
On roads like this, successful hypermiling is all about minimizing the negatives.
Yeah, a bit more speed. Use your momentum to carry you up.
And maximizing the positives.
Here, you can lift off.
And on an EV, there's even more you can do.
Put it into no regen and coast up.
Once you're at the top of the hill, you just let gravity bring you back down while carefully using the motor's regen feature to start feeding current back into the battery. It's scintillating stuff.
It's fun for me.
I like the discipline of driving in a slightly different way.
Yeah.
But, you know, against the clock, baby.
We still had over 100 miles to go, and darkness was now descending. That meant the lights had to go on, another drain on the Ioniq's depleting battery. Then it started raining, which meant using the wipers, and the energy hits kept coming.
It's getting colder. I, therefore, would like a little bit more heating on. Maybe I'll just put my hat on.
But quite rightly, the heater went on, because this car should be able to offer all the comforts a petrol one would.
I think we got enough. I think as long as you're not Leadfoot Larry, I think we'll make it.
What have you been accusing me of the whole trip? Being Leadfoot Larry?
Exactly. No, but that's the thing. I feel fully confident in this car making it. I don't feel confident in you.
No, exactly.
But I want to see what the car can do.
And in spite of my leaden right foot, it seems the car was going to do it, because the lights of Inverness were now coming into view.
Vicky,
yes?
I think we've done it.
I think we have. Oh my gosh. Well done. Seriously,
Mate,
well done.
What a journey.
Oh.
What a journey.
Well done, car.
Okay, first of all, impressions on the car. Did you like it?
Oh, I really like it. It is fantastic, and I have never felt that I've needed to get out and stretch my legs. It has been unbelievably comfortable.
So comfy, so refined. That just illustrates 500 miles in your company without complaining.
Our challenge was to see if we could complete one of the UK's longest and remotest drives in an EV, as you'd expect to do it in a petrol-powered car.
And the simple answer to that is yes, you can. OK, there was a bit of range anxiety along the way, but with some sage hypermiling advice from Mr. Reed, even I managed to return mileage that was approaching Hyundai's figures.
Would we do it again? Absolutely. Except next time, we'd take 2 weeks.